to the questions. The guys want to know, why did you decide to start with electronic music? What took you there?
I think when I started was many years ago, and then the electronic dancing didn't exist when I started. There was just nothing there, but my fascination came from electronic music, from Jean-Michel Jarre. I don't know if you've heard of him. He is an electronic artist. It's more ambient stuff, and he's a guy that first started making synthesizer music, because at the time he had live music, and then this guy was making music from electronic boxes. And it was that obsessed me, it fascinated me. And then that eventually turned into dance music that we know today. And then I just got obsessed with how people made dance music from electronic sounds. The same as a lot of us, like Carl Cox and John Digweed and anyhow, a whole bunch of us live locally, and we were just pushing this electronic scene. So we were there kind of creating it at the very beginning.
And what were your first steps in electronic music?
What, you mean as in DJing and getting it? Well, because the scene didn't exist, I knew I wanted to play out. Carl Cox was the same, all the others I mentioned. We had to create a scene that didn't exist. Yeah, so I started a club that I got a residency at. I started pushing this electronic sound, because you had mainstream sound, all the two used to be together years ago. And
where?
I still live there now, it's called Worthing. It's next to Brighton on the south coast, a little sleepy seaside town. And I started pushing these electronic events in the small room of the club. And then they were so successful that I outgrew that room. So the club owner put me in the main room, which was like 2,000 people. And that's when the race began. It grew and grew, and then...
And what age were you?
I was 16 at that time, and then from progressing to 17, 18 years old, 19, that's when they really took off. And then the club owner said, look, I'll let you program and take over and promote the whole night. So I had 5 floors with 3,500 people coming in.
5 floors of
5 floors of electronic, different types of electronic music, and it used to get packed out. Because it's on the south coast, people used to travel all over the country to come to these raves. So they were like legendary nights.
So how did that change your personal life to get into DJing?
It changed my life because I think the main thing is, I mean, I'm so lucky I did this from leaving school, but it's actually a hobby. It's a hobby that I'm earning a living from.
Right. That you enjoy and also make a living out of it.
I don't feel like I'm working, which is, I did some jobs to help provide for myself, but I hated the daytime jobs. So it got me away from that. Oh, I hate it. I really hated it, but that it fueled me even more to make a career and a living out of DJing. So that's how it changed my life. It's like every day is just a happy hobby day. Yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm working.
Right. And that's what keeps you motivated.
Oh, really? I'm traveling the world and living a dream that everyone else to do. So
that sounds amazing.
It's a win, yeah.
What are your influences when you make music in the studio?
I kind of do my own thing. The trouble is, if you start looking at other people and you try and emulate what they're doing, then it just becomes a bad copy of what they're doing. Then you get frustrated.
Because you can't copy them.
You can't, no, and then it doesn't sound the same. Then you start to doubt and question yourself.
You get frustrated.
Yeah, you think, what am I doing wrong? It's their production technique which makes their sound. So I've learned to focus on just doing the strange, weird ideas I hear in my head, start producing them in the way I make them. Then people ask me, how do you do that? And that's what I don't know. It's just my personal technique which makes my sound.
Then don't you think that maybe at the beginning copying, or no, you don't advise to copy, or to try to emulate something that other makes?
Take influence. That's the best thing. I don't know, like orchestral
like
music.
an inspiration.
Yeah, I listen to other stuff from that world and I take ideas and things that I like, key changes, chord structures, and then put it into my world. But I think, and I hear it from a lot of producers, trying to copy and identically copy something else, it just doesn't work.
Identity.
No, do your own thing.
What's the next release on Shoe Recordings? Or
you put me on the spot now because I haven't got a clue.
The new artist.
Oh,
mind?
we got loads of old and new artists. We've got Tim Penner, which I'm really pushing at the moment. He's from Toronto in Canada. He's just coming out with this amazing fresh sound. It's like this world in between progressive house and techno, and you've got trance, and he's just hitting this sweet spot in the middle. It's really incredible grooves, and then he has these lovely trancey
It's hard to find someone goes into a new, fresh sound.
And that's what he's doing. He's nailing it. So we're well behind him. And then we got people like Airwave, who's been around for years. Arguably, he's the one that's forged trance scene from day one to what we know today. So I'm proud to have him on my label. And he just finished an EP. So I don't know when that'll be out. Actually, probably July, August, something like that.
What do you feel when you do an open to close set? Why do you like it so much?
I think the best way for me to describe an open to close set is it challenges you as a DJ. It sorts the men out from the boys. You know, some people just pre-program their sets and they've got a slot and that's it. And as soon as they go and run out of the tracks that they play, they're lost and they don't know what to do. But I like pushing myself as a DJ. I never know what I'm going to play. And I'm reading the crowd. Nothing's ever planned. I'm prepared with the tools that I've got for any situation. So as I'm watching the crowd, if they're in a deep groove and they're going mad for that deep groove, I will stay there.
You stay there.
And I've got enough tools to go there, but still keep it interesting.
Right.
And if they want it hard, I'll play hard. But it's like unfolding a story, and you have to keep that story very interesting, because if it becomes boring, the people go. They lose interest. They just stand around and think, well, this is getting uninteresting now. So you're doing that with music.
Lots of deep music and hypnotic music, and you see that people really don't go. But some of the DJs, they are expecting that every time it's high music, you know, not deep. And you play deep, and people love it, and they stay.
And I like the sense of the unknown, because I'll be deep, but then I'll suddenly go off somewhere else and suddenly go here. So it's like watching, you know, one of those movies.
You don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah, and you're on the edge of your seat. You don't know what's coming next, and that's what I like to do with music.
What do you think about the trance scene today? And electronic music in general? An open question.
It's a big open question. There's two ones there. The trance scene, there's no hiding, it needs a little bit of love at the moment. It's not in the best place I've seen it within the history that I know trance. I was there right at the beginning of the birth of the early 90s. And the good days were around the 90s, the early 2000s. It was really credible, and it just kind of went very commercial and mainstream, the last decade especially, and it's become almost pop music to the next generation. That's why a lot of the next generation are not going into trance, because it seems too commercial for them. But I'm one of many who's fighting to show that there's another side to it. There's an underground side.
Yeah, that's what we are trying to do as well. To let people know something that maybe they don't know, because they're too young maybe.
And that shows how we all work in union, because it's not just the DJs, the promoters, the producers, the promoters as well. We all work together, and that's what you're doing this evening. You're putting forward, say, hey look, here's a different take on trance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.